And welcome back.
Got another episode of the Not So Perfect podcast here.
And
As
we
always,
ready.
we ready.
We
That was our theme
ready.
today.
Matt's been humming this. And
Yep.
Matt Chin here.
Matt Chin here with, as always, Gerardo the
Cornejo. Carne asada in the building.
That's right.
Feeling good today.
I was going to say, you just got snap, crackled, and
Yeah,
popped, right?
shout out to Nick.
Midmo House Calls.
Midmo House Calls. He's our chiropractor. Everybody's chiropractor in this building now. My sister, my mom, my wife, me, Matt, we all go to him.
Yep. Also, shout out, not just a one-trick pony there, shout out Paul Dupuis, Downtown Chiropractor.
Yeah, good luck on...
Support Mr. Paul. But yeah, so what's been going on, man? We've missed, this is week 2. So we've been gone for a week, and we're back this week. So we're just going to kind of recap what's been going on, and then we'll get into some more current events.
Yeah, I had a great previous podcast. I enjoyed that conversation.
I did, yes.
All live. If you guys haven't seen it, it's live. It's on our channel. And today we'll see where we go.
Yeah. So today, just kind of going over what's been going on the last couple of weeks that I've been working on or just been focused on. So for me, it's been a lot of self-improvement. I know it seems like that's kind of always the case, which it is, but just working on more specifics of some things I want to try and get right in my body and in my life. Did something new this week that I haven't ever done before. Wanted to try it out. So I had a lymphatic massage on Monday. So if you don't know what a lymphatic massage is, I didn't know either. So I still don't know much about it, but I went in with an open mind. So almost like I'm almost looking at this like it was a divine intervention type thing. Okay, not saying the skies parted or the seas parted to do this, but I had a thought in my head. All right, I'm going to go run this marathon in Montana, enjoy myself. Whenever I get back, if I'm still having the neck issues I've been having, I'm going to probably need to just take the step and just get some imaging done and just do this because what's going on with my neck isn't really related to my neck surgeries, but it's kind of everything above and below that area. And I've been working on it for quite a while, and the chiropractor, the massage, all that stuff has been helping. But the deal is it's been helping for very short-term periods of time. So I'm looking for something that's going to be more longer-term. So I'll go to the chiropractor, and I'll feel great the rest of that day, and I'll wake up feeling just like I was the day before. So it's just very short-term relief. Same with the massages. I'll feel good the rest of the day into the next day, and then I'll just be slowly trickling back, going the wrong direction. So I went and saw my chiropractor the day after I got back from Missoula, and I went to the bathroom first, so I got to walk past his office. Well, I saw his old office. There was a new spot or a new person that was in there. So I asked him about it. I said, hey, what's this all about? He said, well, she works on a lot of lymphatic massage and that sort of thing. I said, well, I don't know what that is, so what does that mean? He said, well, basically just works your lymph nodes, which runs throughout your entire body. So your lymph nodes are basically like, that's where, like, if there's an infection or something wrong with your body, they're the ones that deploy the white blood cells to attack and get everything healed.
It's Navy SEAL Team 6.
I guess whenever we're talking about some things like that, yeah. But anyway, so I was going to the bathroom, saw her office, asked him about what it's all about, if he thought it would be beneficial to me with what we're currently working on, trying to get my neck and everything right, and he thought that it would be beneficial. So I just signed up. Went in with an open mind, not really sure what to expect, but if it can make me 5% better or take my pain level down 10% better, to me, that's worth it.
Yeah.
So I went in there. Her name's Hillary McCarty, very nice lady. Her business is called Bloom Beauty and Wellness. Bloom Beauty and Wellness. She's out at the mall. Anyways, so once I got on the table, I was an open book to her. I told her what I'm looking, where I'm struggling right now. It's my neck stuff above and below my surgery points. And then I've got some other things too, but more of my focus is getting this neck figured out. So she did a deep dive with me. I told her I know a basic outline of the body. I know how it works. I know the muscles. I know the joints and the nerves and da-da-da-da. I was like, but outside of that, we're getting into the lymphatic system. I don't know much about anything about it. So I agreed to her. I'm going to do 4 weeks in a row of treatment, one every week for 4 weeks and see where we're at. But basically we have drainage ports for our lymph nodes all over our body. There's little access and drainage points. So everything that I was thinking about, what's going on with my neck, and just trying to make it make sense of why I'm just having this chronic issue that's just not getting better, for long-term periods of time. And everything that I had kind of already been thinking before I had met this lady or sat down in her office, everything that she was saying was connecting dots of things that I was already thinking about. And then as she was educating me on what exactly the lymphatic system does and where it runs and where the attachment points are and all that stuff, all the dots were connecting that maybe this is what I've been missing, And again, I've never heard of lymphatic massage. I've never heard of anybody recommend lymphatic massage, whether it be a doctor or, whatever. So again, an untapped resource of things, but she focuses on a lot of things. Like if you have a surgery, she works on post-surgery lymphatic drainage so you don't get a lot of swelling and just stuff like that.
Linda, if you're watching this,
she's
come
already
talk
been,
to Matt.
She was already been pitched. She was pitched Monday afternoon after I got back from there and came back here that afternoon. So I suggested that to her. But anyways, I learned a lot about how basically clogged up all of my lymph node ports are. So there's a port that runs basically on top of your head, down through your neck, into the back of your armpit where the drainage point is. So back of your armpits. And then in your ankles, there's a drainage point there. And so it turns out all of mine were completely clogged. So the reason why my shoulder pain has been tied in with my neck is because this all runs down the same line. And if your stuff isn't draining as it's supposed to, it's going to back up and it's going to cause inflammation, So anyways, I got up off of the table after she was done with her treatment, and I instantaneously felt about 30% better in my neck in terms of I just didn't feel like everything was so puffy. Whoa. So whenever the inflammation's down, my range of motion was better. My activity that I can do with my neck was better. And that's all I was focused on was my neck. She worked other spots too, but I found a lot of reasons why my right hip is always problematic because I was clogged from my knee to my ankle. And then also my low back. She was doing some stuff through my stomach and then on my back. All of the stuff that I just have chronic pain at was significantly better after an hour treatment.
And this is not a paid ad.
Nope.
This is no ad. No, we're not selling anything.
This is paying full price every time I go. But if this is if it's something you're not familiar with, I always say give it a shot. I don't know enough about it to explain everything to you guys. I still have more questions whenever I go back next week. So if you're not sure, the thing I liked about Hillary was she came in from the get-go and said, look, I don't know everything. And if I don't know, or if this is something I can't help you with, I will tell you, or I will get you in touch with another specialist I think that can help you that might be doing something similar or different. But anyways, I learned something new, that not all inflammation is coming from the food you're eating or necessarily if you've got inflammation from an injury. But sometimes your lymphatic system is clogged up in different areas and that can cause additional swelling. So I felt great immediately getting off the table. And again, she's like, you won't feel this until tomorrow at its full extent. And very true to fact. So again, even it's been since Monday, it's Wednesday now, the inflammation isn't coming back. My neck isn't still stiff as it was. So I got another appointment with her next week and then the following 3 weeks. So if you guys are looking for answers, but the doctors can't give them to you, or something's just
you're tired of taking just medicine.
They keep throwing pills at you, or a whole bunch of pills and stuff like that. Guys, give her a check out. If she can help you, she will. If she can't, she'll tell you as well. So again, that's what I've been up to. Had a lot of success with it. I'm very pleased with it. I'm looking forward to my next appointment next week with her.
And that kind of falls along with where my brain's been at this week, is more of like the self-care. Mm-hmm. We've discussed this before, but the self-care, because Ronaldo just did an interview, and if you don't know who Ronaldo is, he's the number 1 soccer player in the world at 41 years of age.
And he's been the top since he's like 20.
For the last 2 decades minimum. Yeah. And he's older than Messi, so even longer.
I say he probably started when he was 18 too, or something crazy.
Yeah, but so for every 3 hours of training he does 3 hours of recovery. Mm-hmm. And if you've seen the man, what he looks like at 41 looks better than any of the 20-year-olds that are in the World Cup right now. So the self-care, self-recovery stuff is, I haven't gone to the chiropractor since March, I found out today. Man, I feel brand new. I feel like I'm speaking different. I'm breathing differently.
Yep.
I'm taller. And my knee, I went and kicked some penalty kicks because it's World Cup. I was like, let's see if I still got it. Destroyed my knee this week, you know. And then, but back to recovery, find out the steps to take. But that's inflammation is huge, and what they usually give inflammation is pills. So that I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, a lot of times you don't know if this is something that's right for you unless you try it out. You know, now I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Like I said, I am new to this. I have a lot more questions after our first appointment than I did going in. So again, this is something I'm learning. And again, for me, I look at it as a new challenge, okay? There's something about the body you don't know about, learn about it, you know? So now in my free time, I've been reading up on the lymphatic system and lymphatic massage and just, you know, I don't like being the person that doesn't know everything. I'm not saying I need to know everything, but that's a challenge to me, okay? Because I take pride in what I do for a living. I need to know what I'm talking about and be competent in what I'm saying. Otherwise, I lose trust from my clients. And if I'm sending people down rabbit holes that don't make any sense, like, you know, someone that doesn't need a lymphatic massage and I'm promoting it and pushing it, and it's nothing that they need, you know, I'm wasting somebody else's money and time. So again, I use this as an opportunity to make myself better by educating myself deeper on something I don't know about. And I do that with most everything nowadays, whether it be learning how to start a nonprofit race, sitting at a coffee shop with my Google, typing in how to start a nonprofit race. Like everything I'm starting is basically from scratch. So I've got a new rabbit hole to dive down and to learn about and educate myself on.
And that's what's cool about watching Matt's business. It's all ages, all sizes, all shapes, male, female. Like, it's good that you're learning all that because you do have every one of your clients is
well, as soon as I left there,
different.
I was thinking of every single client that I thought that could benefit from what I just went through. You know, and some of it's post-surgery stuff. Some of it's just older people that just have some puffiness that never seems to go away. Some people like Linda, I was telling her about it because she just had her post-op 1 year checkup on her knee surgery. So again, I don't know if it's going to apply to everybody, but knowing what it did for me in that 1 hour, I was already thinking of people that it might be able to benefit that are coming into my gym or just in this building or whoever I run into.
And this is like body recovery. Look at we're willing to spend, not we are, but some people are willing to spend hundreds of dollars in alcohol on the weekend at the leg, but they won't go see a chiropractor because it's $70.
Yep.
Because would you share the cost to do the lymphatic?
So I think it was, so that's the other thing. She has a lot of different services that she offers. I think the one I did was like $115, which is like a standard 60-minute lymphatic massage. But there's some that cost more, some that cost less, but it just depends what you're looking for. Like, so she does some stuff with like a post-surgery type of deal. She'll do measurements at the beginning and then kind of track where the swelling is from week to week or treatment to treatment. I don't need inches or measurements taken. That's not my priority of coming in there. So again, it just depends on what you're walking in there with. If it's a post-op, it's going to be a different price. But anyways, you can go on Vigaro and check out Bloom Beauty and Wellness, and she's got all of her services listed, and it's extensive. So just be prepared.
Vigaro, is it Shell Mind and Body? Also
no, so it's Vigaro.
Just Vigaro.
Yep, okay. Vigaro. Yep. So I've been sending that link to a bunch of people that I work with and train and whatnot. So I think it'd be beneficial to a lot of people. But again, it's an avenue that I knew nothing about until I freakishly saw her sign on the door going to the bathroom before my chiropractor appointment. So if I hadn't walked down there and checked it out, I'd still be in the same place I was.
God just pushed you a little. God made you go to the restroom that day.
Well, and again, so now I'm not going through 3 months of seeing a specialist, getting an X-ray approved, and then having to hassle with the insurance about an MRI. And then if it's not a neck thing, then I need to go see a shoulder specialist, X-ray, MRI on the shoulder. And if it's not the shoulder, then you got to go see a back specialist to get imaging of your, the back and the MRI of that. So again, I made that mistake before, and I spent 9 months of my life and thousands and thousands of dollars to find nothing. No answers, no solutions, just pills, shots, or surgery. And I was like, well, okay, let's just amuse me for a minute. If we have surgery, what are we going to be having surgery on? Since you guys can't give me a diagnosis of why I'm in excruciating pain. Come to find out, my PT, my physical therapist, Tony Brinicki out of Outbound Physical Therapy, put me on the table. I told him it seems like there's been a rib out. I've told every doctor, every specialist I've been to that it feels like there's an upper rib out. He put his fist in my back, cracked me, and it was like a light switch fixed. So this is the route that I take now. I try not to see a specialist or a doctor unless I have a bone sticking out of my skin or it's something that a medical doctor can only work on. So outside of that, I try and find the alternative methods, less invasive methods. And with this lymphatic massage, don't get it twisted. It's not a deep tissue massage. I compare it more to like a Swedish massage where you're not tense, you're not having to breathe and do all this stuff. It's very relaxing. It's very relaxing.
Shoot, I'll be booking mine here after this podcast.
Something to think about, guys. If it's something if you have swelling, inflammation, you've altered your diet, you're trying to get rid of the gluten and you're still having inflammation stuff, it might not be inflammation coming from what you think. It might be a clogged up lymph node somewhere along your body. And again, I'm still learning a lot about it, guys. I'll update more whenever I have it.
We're also not experts promoting all this stuff.
Correct.
But I had a conversation with a cardiologist, and he put it in my brain that said, hey, all the problems that you're kind of facing right now at this age, they've been compounding for the last 20 years. You know,
kicking footballs, kicking soccer balls,
Yep, and not resting and not recovering, not self-recovery. So then some people ended up with surgeries that they didn't need, where it could have been all that. I saw a reel this morning that it said this guy just stood still outside for 20 minutes for 90 days. And he said it changed his life, but the whole point was we don't give our bodies time to recover. Like my son is going through this right now with baseball tryouts, basketball, swimming, partying, playing, pitching, just going all day long. It's like, bro, you need some recovery time.
Right.
We're promoting that to the kids. Why aren't we doing it? You know, see, even just 20 minutes of meditation. If you haven't tried it, try it.
You know what my favorite part is that you brought up earlier is you can't get a guy or somebody to go to the chiropractor because it's $70. But yet you'll spend $110 on an oil change on your vehicle every 3,000 miles. So if you're taking better care of your car than yourself, don't be upset whenever your body starts breaking down, because guess what? Oil changes on your body are just as important.
It is that transmission noise, the squeaky brakes. I mean, we could, the 200,000 miles. I did have a chiropractor, rest in peace, Dr. Hug. He'd always compare the chiropractic aligning with alignment of a car. If your wheels aren't aligned, you're wasting money on tires because they're not aligned and they're being wasted.
Yep.
When you align your tires, Formula One cars, if you want to perform like a Formula One car, here's your adjustment and it gets you straightened up. And there's some great chiropractors out there.
Yeah. Well, and again, guys, like you have to take care of your body, and if you're not, don't be upset when it starts failing on you. I mean, that means what you're putting in your body. You know, you can put in E85 corn syrup, corn oil, whatever that stuff is, or you can put in a premium fuel and your car will operate better, more efficient, more effectively. With the other stuff, it's not going to work as great. So
I have a funny story. I thought about you this morning. I've been working again on my weight, as always, but I stepped on a scale, 186 yesterday morning. Boom, getting closer to the 180. Went to the pool with the kids yesterday. Over at Osage View, if you haven't been, take the kids, they love it. But the drinks are $8. And I was like, I'm just gonna get a drink because it's like a buy one, get one free compared to one drink at the Lake of the Ozarks. And like, I'll just drink one, but I hope it lasts me an hour at the lake because you're at a pool. I'm watching the soccer game, my family's there, my kids are watching the game with me at the pool. So it was okay to have a drink. Step on the scale today, 190 pounds. Just because I had 2 sugar drinks, and of course I had some carbs. But it is just crazy how when the difference it makes overnight. And it's just inflammation. It's just stuff sitting in here.
Yep. That it is. So, a lot to think about there, guys. How are you living your life? How are you treating your body? You know, self-care is a very important thing, and we're not talking about physical self-care, but how you talk about yourself, how you think about yourself, how you look at yourself when you see yourself in the mirror. You know, me, whenever I first got sober, every time I saw myself in the mirror or thought about myself or whatever it was, super negative. You're a no good piece of shit. You're the no good alcoholic that fucked his whole life up. That's how I always, even after I got sober, I was still stuck in that old me thinking. And it's super destructive. It's not beneficial. Wasn't for me. The more I fought that, the harder it was to let go of it.
And that was you alone. Nobody else is talking to you that way.
I was not.
That's just you in front of a mirror.
It was not a two-way
talking.
conversation.
Yeah.
It was just one ear to one ear hole, and then they meet in the middle. And
so if you can relate to that, even after not, or being sober or not, like it's just, you're beating yourself up. So train yourself to be nicer to yourself, be kinder to yourself.
It was, it took me, after I got sober, it took me probably at least 3 years to start not hating the person that I saw in the mirror. So, it's not an easy process. I'm sure there's levels to how negative of self-talk everybody has with themselves. Mine was not good because I grew up in a family that, my dad was expect a lot out of us, and manual labor was a huge part of it. And if you weren't cutting the mud, he was going to let you know. And, you hear that stuff long enough, you start believing it, and then you start convincing yourself that what everybody used to tell you was real and true. You just start believing the shit that's just been in there, and then the longer you start doing it, it's like concrete. It just sits, it gets hard, it gets harder, and it gets harder until you start chipping away at it. And it took me a long time, and I'm better now than I ever have been. If my body's hurting that day, I don't just MF myself into getting up and going and doing the 19-mile run that I definitely don't necessarily need to do today, but I feel like I need to because inside my head that makes sense. Like, again, I'm just so grateful today that I don't have that constant battle every single day of every minute I'm awake where I'm just arguing with myself about, you're a pussy, you've overworked, you're a pussy, you've overworked. There was no middle ground. There was no balance to it. And today I have, I'm not perfect, but I'm so much better today than I was. And that just took rinse, wash, repeat, rinse, wash, repeat, rinse, wash, repeat. And there were a lot of days where I fell down and didn't do great, but I got up, dusted off, back at it again the next day.
You can have your moments. You're going to have your days.
We all have our moments.
Even with my kids, it's like, all right, today's your day. Like, if you're going to feel that way today.
Or like David Goggins says, you want to be poopy pants? You got poopy pants mentality? Okay, you didn't get the promotion at work. You got fired from a job. Your girlfriend left you, or whatever the situation is. They all require different amounts of poopy pants time in the way I look at it. So if it's something minor that pisses me off, take 5 minutes, sulk, get whatever, and then we're putting it behind us and we're moving forward. If it's something major, girlfriend breaks up with you, you're getting a divorce, whatever it is, maybe you need a day, maybe you need a week, whatever it is, agree to a time period that you can sulk and be in your feelings and just let it out. And once that time period's over with, put it behind you, move forward. Now, that's not just with bad things. I do that with good and bad because I don't like being too high and I don't want to be too low. I try and keep everything as middle of the road as I can. So after my race this past year, I got done with it. I got home. I took about 5 minutes, patted myself on the back, peeled the drenched, soaking wet clothing I still had glued to my body after I was done, and then I passed out for about 6 hours. So I try and make sure if I'm in a good place, I give myself the credit and the recognition I need for a certain period of time. And if I'm in a poopy pants mentality, I give myself a certain amount of time to sulk and to get over it. And once that time period's over, both of those go behind us and we're looking at what's next. So that's what's worked for me. Hopefully it can work for you guys. But to go along with that, so we got to give a good shout out to a good friend of ours, James, AKA Jimmy.
Big Jim.
So Big Jim, he came in here 11 months ago, was looking for me. I was already gone for the morning, so he bumped into Gerardo, so they chatted.
I was walking into work. He was sitting out there on the alleyway, and he was like, is there downtown fitness here? And then I was like, well, he's here, but he's not here. He's like, well, I just moved here from California. And I was like, from where? Then California started to talk.
Yeah, a couple of Cali natives.
Cali boys,
here.
West Coast, and he's a surfer. He lived the life that I dreamed of having out there. I couldn't afford a surfboard at the time, so I could not surf there. We had a bodyboard. But they connected.
Yeah, and he started a month sober. He'd been sober at different periods in his past, but he'd gone back out. So anyway, so we met. We developed a relationship. I became his trainer and not necessarily a mentor, but just someone helping a newly sober guy navigate that road, or navigate those seas of early sobriety. And, I haven't been able to go to my morning meetings that I used to go to all the time just because my schedule, I've got clients every day between 7 and 9. So that meeting's 7:30 to 8:30, so I don't get to make it nearly as much. But today worked out great where my 7 o'clock came in at 6:30, so I could be done by 7:30. And then I snuck over to the meeting without telling Jim I was going. And so I snuck in about 7:45, just in time to hear him talk, tell his story. And what I love about it is, his birthday, I believe, was July 10th, his 1-year sobriety date.
Dang, missed it.
But today he got recognized and got his coin and stuff from the meeting. But what's funny is because he was leading up to the last 2 weeks before his 1-year sobriety birthday, his truck broke down. That was going to cost $1,100, whatever the amount was. It was a lot. And then he got into a scuffle with some new kid at work that, thinks he knows everything. And they kind of got into a little bit, and they got into a little heated argument, if you will, and they had to be separated. And, Jim, and this happened on Friday. So, leading up to Jim's 1-year sobriety birthday, I tell people all the time, God puts little tests in front of us to see, not if we're worthy for our 1 year, but just to kind of check in and see where we're at. Because we know what would have happened 11 months ago or 12 months ago,
Yep.
how he would have reacted. It would have been fist fighting and, and it was just interesting. I love hearing just the transformation from when he came in to what happened last Friday, because he got into it with this kid, had to be separated, and he took, they got off work and he did his own thing after that. And he came back on Monday and he's like, and I saw him on Saturday at the workout. And I was like, how you doing, Jim? I was like, we got a big anniversary coming up. I was like, yeah, I don't even know if I'm ready for that yet. And I'm like, what happened? So he told me, and I said, well, Jim, I was like, if you were telling me this story 11 months ago, I know exactly what would happen. You would have fought this dude. You would have probably gotten fired. You probably would have gotten arrested. Who knows what would have happened, because he just saw red whenever he got mad. And I was the same way. I get it. So after the incident happened, he felt terrible the rest of the day, because not saying Jim was 100% wrong. There was faults on both sides. But Jim felt bad about how he reacted. Not what that kid said to him, not, nothing that led up before that, but it was how he responded. He wasn't violent, but he was yelling. He was kind of losing his shit. So he knew in the moment that what he was doing was wrong, but in the moment, you just can't stop it. Once he was done with that moment, the instant remorse came over him, like, you're better than this. You can do better than this. But it wasn't, that son of a bitch, he needs to know who I am. He wasn't pointing a finger at anybody but himself. And that's huge growth for a person that's going through what Jim's been through. So super proud of him for doing that. I texted him Saturday because he was originally going to go to the meeting Saturday to get his coin. So I was like, well, I can move the workout a little bit later just because I want to be there for his deal. So I texted him Friday night and I said, hey, you going to be at the meeting on Saturday or tomorrow morning? I'll be there if you are. I want to see you get your coin. Oh, I don't know, bro. I had a tough day at work. I got into it with the guy, and I think, are you still having the workout? I think it's more beneficial to me where I'm at right now if I go to the workout, and then I can go to the meeting next week sometime and get my coin. I said, oh, well, yeah. I go, we'll just keep it as normal, so just come on in at 8 and we'll see you then. So he was telling us the story then, but then I saw him before we shot the podcast today, and he said when he got to work on Monday, he went up to the kid. Well, he basically went to his boss, was talking to him. He's like, I don't know I know what I want to do, but I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if I'm going to keep it together, if I'm going to lose my shit. I don't know. So his boss was like, well, that's fine. Whatever you feel like. But if not, if you guys don't bury this hatchet, I got to send this up to corporate. He's like, I don't want more headache and paperwork and whatever comes with corporate getting involved. I just don't want to do that. So he went up to the kid. He said, hey, I just want to come up and apologize for how I reacted, how I responded, and it's not how I know better than not to do that. I was like, but I saw red and I just, I'm working on getting better. So this kid was just pushing right back at him, and Jim said, you know what? I'm giving you a heartfelt apology. You can either take it or not take it. That's up to you to decide, but I'm really not doing this so much for you as much as I am to clear my conscience. So you do with it whatever you want. So he said the guy was still kind of acting tough, and then I guess ever since then, the guy's following him around like a lost puppy. Hey, Jim, how's it going? How you doing? I said, well, you know why?
Checkmate.
I said, you know why? I said, because You gave him your apology, heartfelt, not yelling, not screaming. Whatever you said was what you said. I can't control what you say, but I can control how I react. And I reacted poorly. I need to do better, so I just wanted to apologize. So that's huge growth for somebody that from where Jim was 11 months ago to where he's at today. That is a lot of growth, internal growth for a person to get better.
Yeah, just as a human being.
Yeah. And again, it doesn't take an alcoholic to make these steps. I encourage everybody to, if you lie, if you tell a white lie, if you tell a big lie, admit it, own it. You will feel so much better just by owning little white lies or whatever kind of stupid lies you might just say to say. I do that not all the time, but I catch myself telling little white lies that they don't change the outcome of anything about the story, but I just decided to add something in. And I'll say it, and then as soon as I finish the sentence, I'm like, wait, stop. I just lied about that part. I don't know why I lied about it, but I just did. Anyways, I'm sorry I lied. I don't know why. And they're like, they look at you like you're half crazy because nobody does that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's what I got to do to hold myself to a high standard. I'm the one that's encouraging people to do the same. If I'm a hypocrite, I'm not benefiting my cause or what I'm trying to promote at all. So.
One thing I do want to add to that is some people might be watching or some listeners, whatever, they might be, a year of sobriety, that's not that hard. That it was like, it is to that individual. It is to people that are going through this. So to reward him and be there for him, keep him positivity. Because I could go weeks without drinking, no big deal. I have a drink, but you guys, you know what I'm saying. Like the people that are going through that alcoholism.
If I have one, I'll be trying to drive a picnic table down High Street by the end of the day. And that's just how it goes. I don't know why.
I didn't understand this until I was able to have these conversations and hear where you guys are coming from and where you're at with. I didn't think alcoholism was that bad until you start meeting individuals that are struggling with it. And it is a struggle. I know I struggle with other things. These people struggle with alcohol. These people struggle with worse things. Some people struggle with lying.
Maybe it's drugs. Maybe it's eating. Maybe it's
lying. Just lying. We're not perfect at all. But if you can just reward these people be there for them, support them, because it is difficult.
Well, and my other thing, just to add to that, is if you're not in that position to judge someone, you really don't have any right to be the judge. So we were talking, just kind of lean this into what we were talking about before we started. Going through being an alcoholic has been the best thing that's ever happened because it helped me understand more of who I am and why I am the way I am. And I would have never figured out all the things I've learned about myself mentally, physically, what I'm capable of doing, physically challenging myself or mentally challenge myself to learn something new that I don't know about. That's the challenge I embrace every day. I want to be challenged. I want to find something that I don't know that I can do a deep dive on and learn about, And that goes with everything, your mental, your spiritual, your social, your physical, just all the things that represent your life. They all have to be addressed. It's like an eight piece pie. Every day I try and check off every piece of that pie. One's my meditation, one's my reading, one's my physical, one's my mental, one's my whatever it is. Okay? Every time throughout the day that pie gets erased and I have to do that all over again. And when that's what you're looking at every day, I don't get pissed whenever I'm like, it's Friday.
It's just,
why do we got to do that? I don't have that argument anymore with myself, and I embrace it because it's an opportunity to get better. So that's how I look at it that way. Now, in terms of judging people that you're not familiar with what they're going through, if you're not an alcoholic, how can you relate to what an alcoholic goes through over the course of 12 months? I don't think you can. Not just like I wouldn't be the one to try and judge someone that eats too much or that has a problem with eating or someone that maybe has a drug issue, okay? Mine was alcohol, and I'm sure drugs are similar in different ways and areas, but I don't know that, So I don't assume to know what these people are going through whenever it is. So you have to just meet people wherever they're at today, and if they're wanting to get better and they're willing to do that, encourage them. Why wouldn't you? Whether it be a friend, a family member, or maybe someone you don't really know that well. if they're opening up to you about something, encourage them. Like, why wouldn't you? So,
Do you think it was your fault you became an alcoholic?
I think the signs were all there all along, but that's before I realized how far it went down my family history on my dad's side.
That's the point I'm getting at.
Had I known, I didn't know any of that stuff. Well, I mean, I knew my dad and I knew my grandpa, but outside of that, when you're young, you don't think of it in terms of, you don't look at life the same way as a 20-year-old that you do as a 41-year-old, So for me, the signs were there. I just wasn't paying attention. In a lot of different ways, the signs were there, I had family members praying for me every day that I had no idea. Whenever I got sober, I finally got the nerves to call my grandma from rehab and called her and told her what I was doing. Hey, Grandma, I just want to call and let you know I'm up here in Boonville trying to get a grip on my drinking problem. And, I'm an alcoholic and I'm trying to get better so I can do better for everybody else, And first thing she said was, oh my gosh, Matthew, I'm so glad that God's answered my prayers. So I can't imagine how many countless hours my grandma was praying for me, and not just my grandma, but I'm sure my mom, and and then you realize what my effects have done to people that I love, and that's where for me it was the red line. I can't keep living like this, one way or the other. I can't do this with a good conscience, knowing what I've done to my parents, my grandma, my family that loves me, like my friends, everything. So that was my red line where I just had to, okay, well, this is what we got to do, and we can't question it. We just got to do it. It's been working. It keeps working. Just keep doing what's working. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't tweak. Don't da-da-da-da-da. Just stick with what's working.
And knowledge is power. If you would have known that, then it would have made more sense. And there's a podcast I'm rewatching with Aubrey Marcus and Dr. Martuccini. I don't remember his name. But he studies negative behaviors, or he finds out the why and where did this start. So there was this guy had a problem. He was molesting kids up to 8 years old. 8 years old was his age group, right? 8 years old. I mean, we're talking about guys that should be murdered, shot, hung, whatever. Come to find out, his most traumatic moment of his life was when it happened when he was 8 years old as a child. So that's when that moment got sparked, his entire life. And then until he sat with his doctor, decades later, he realized back to where this all began, where this could have prevented. Luckily, this guy is still alive, but it completely, absolutely changed knowing that the problem it wasn't him. It was just things that led up to that moment of his life that somebody else had trauma on that created it on him.
Yeah. So what happens is your brain, whenever something traumatic happens like that at 8 years old, your mental growth that you're supposed to have as you grow up and get older, you almost get trapped in that 8-year-old mindset, And something I learned at rehab was with alcohol and alcoholics, if you start drinking at 16, 17, 18, for me, I think I was 16 or 17 whenever I first started drinking. Whenever you first start drinking, and if it continues to just cascade like that regularly, your maturity stays locked in at that age, So here I was 20, 25, 30, 34, whatever age I was, still behaving like that of a 16, 18, 20-year-old kid, And that's because that's whenever I started drinking, was 16 years old. So what does your behavior reflect? Well, it reflects like he's a goddamn frat boy, and he's 34 years old. So again, things that I didn't know about until I got to rehab and had to learn about, who I was and why I am the way I am and the way or the reason why things happen the way they happen. And again, they all just make sense once you start connecting the dots. But again, had me and my family had this conversation whenever we were growing up about, hey, this is the family history on Dad's side. It's alcoholic. Like, I'm not trying to yell at you, but we are not fit for alcohol, and it is what it is. We have problems, and look at every single generation going back, and there was a problem with drinking all the way back as far as they could find. So, I'm going to say it again, just like I'm blue in the face, guys. Communication is key. Your kids don't know any of this stuff. So if you can educate them in a sane manner, my house growing up, conversations were usually yelling and screaming,
Yeah.
which isn't conducive for learning, or life lessons or stuff like that. But if you can sit down with your kid or if you and Jacob are playing catch in the backyard, you can have a tough conversation because you're not sitting here at a table across from each other where it's super awkward for two guys to do that and open up because it just is uncomfortable for us. We have to be shoveling or throwing a ball or something that's going to distract us to allow us open up because we're very guarded when it comes to like sensitive stuff that might show weakness or whatever it might be that we're thinking. So that's something, guys, that can just really change your life. But you have to be dedicated to sticking to it and just working at it every day,
Put in the work. If you're a parent, I am going to say it till I'm blue in the face. Put in the work with your children because with Jacob, his attitude in baseball, it was just getting shitty. He was becoming uncoachable. So baseball tryouts just happened. We're like, we're going to sign you up for all these other tryouts just so you can see there's another world outside of this just one team. And he's gone to 4 or 5 other different tryouts. And after the first tryout, he's like, Dad, I love that. I want to play on that team. He hit the farthest ball he's ever hit. He's playing like we're playing in our backyard now because it's not under that just one team pressure. So exposing him to the rest of the world, now we're having different conversations on the way home. How'd you feel? Did you meet new friends? Yeah, I got a new buddy. I knew this guy, Like, he's excited, not just like, no, I'm not going to pitch tomorrow.
It was fine.
No, yeah, it's like, I hit terrible. Because it's hard with his young group because they do everything together. Baseball, basketball, flag football, recess, class. They never know when to switch it off.
Well, and again, a kid only
just
knows
brothers.
They only know that. They don't have the life experience of like, hey, there's other schools with a 8th grader. So there's another baseball team in Jeff City that's totally unrelated to Blair Oaks.
And now the fear is, well, now my teammates aren't going to like me if I play for another team. I was like, look at LeBron. Tell me how many different teams he's been on.
Yeah.
He left Cleveland. They were mad at him. To Miami, to Lakers. It's just life. Changes. It's the only guarantee we have in life.
Yeah.
Changes. So put in the work with the conversations. This is work that me and Matt, it helps us weekly.
This is part of my therapy, guys. It helps me, hopefully, as much as it helps G and whoever's listening out there,
Yeah, but I always think, I got to bring it from Matt. But now what I'm working on now is I picked up my mastery book, Robert Greene Mastery. He wrote the 48 Laws of Power. His second follow-up book to that was Mastery. I've been in 20 years now of customer service in real estate. Is the simplest way I can explain my job. Customer service in real estate. So now I'm picking that book back up now because that's how important my conversations are. The 10,000 hours. I don't know what 20 years of a career boils down to in hours that I've put in, but I should be at this mastery level where I can meet you where you're at. How can I help? Can I be with this? Can I actually help you out? And that's how I'm training it now.
Shout out Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers, 10,000 Hours. It's a great book.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Strongly recommend it.
Entire library.
I had one of my clients read it over the weekend and he brought it back on Monday, fully read. So, somebody that's on the path that we've been talking about. But anyways, we'll to wrap things up here, we will segue into what Gerardo wanted to bring up, which actually relates to something we talked about earlier. The return of the McGregor.
Oh, yeah. I feel his pain because my knee hurts.
From kicking.
From kicking penalty kicks.
PKs.
In the World Cup spirit, I had soccer practice and I was like, can I borrow a ball?
Let's see if the old man still got it.
Let me see how hard these penalty kicks are. And I was just killing it. I didn't miss any. I didn't have the net behind me, so I had to make them. But it was just cool to focus for like that 20 minutes of just doing all those steps, And of course, I'm feeling good. I still got it. Yesterday was a different story on my knee. I was like, Nick, tell me what's wrong. Tell me what ACL, TCL, BCL, what is wrong?
Meniscus, what do we got
Meniscus,
going on
and
here?
it was meniscus. He said, so just rest on it. But McGregor, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
I didn't get $20 million for kicking those penalty kicks, but you did.
He still felt good.
Yeah. Maybe we can get him as a guest. Shout out to McGregor's team.
Shout out the Notorious. It's the same, because he was asking, like, what'd you think? You see everybody saying, oh, this and that and the other thing. I was like, look, Same thing I tell people that were alcoholics. Like, if you're not an alcoholic, it's real hard to relate to an alcoholic. If you've never set foot in a cage, you really have no room to say anything about what it's like to go. Not even before you get in the cage. Before you get in the cage, the 12-week training camp where you get the shit beat out of you every single day, 7 days a week for 12 weeks. Okay, and if you can get out of that not injured, well enough to go fight, and then you get in a cage with an entire arena shouting your name, it is the most terrifying moment of a person's life. Like, and the only reason why I know that is because I did it for about 7, 8 years. And if you haven't set foot, if you haven't trained, we'll just say in an MMA gym or a boxing gym, if you've never had somebody that could just choke you out and take your life away, you really shouldn't be commenting on what a grown man decides to do with his skill set. Now, did I think he looked great? No. He looked like somebody that had taken 5 years off, had let his body go to shit, and I'm sure that was from alcohol and cocaine and whatever else, but he did not look like the Conor McGregor of old. Thus, what happens when you don't take care of yourself and you're off for a long period of time, and then you make this dramatic comeback, things just don't quite work as well as they do. Or as they did, take a look at your knee. You kicked how many footballs and soccer balls until you were 21, 22 years old?
Yep.
And that was no problem. You could kick 1,000 balls every day and you wouldn't have a knee problem tomorrow if I paid you. Well, you just kicked 6 PKs on your own and woke up with a...
It was like 60, all right?
Okay, so we kicked 60. But anyways, the point is, before, no knee problems. Now at 43,
42. My God.
Now at 42... we got knee problems the day after.
It's different.
We gotta throw some ice on it.
It's different.
The body doesn't always work as great, and the older we get, the less effective and efficient it is. So,
but listen to your body
yourself.
And teach your children to listen to their bodies and
learn to love yourself.
Learn to love yourself. Keep having the conversation. Be consistent with your conversations.
Absolutely.
And McGregor Conor. He looked like a McConor Gregor. Is what he looked like.
A
McConor Gregor.
A Conor McNugget.
Just go figure out your finances,
like a
baby.
Conor McNugget out there.
Thank you guys for watching.
We appreciate you all.
Be Not So
Until
Perfect
the next
podcast.
time. Peace.
Peace.